Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. In this episode, I'm going to be doing a quasi-review or some gameplay of Solo Islands of the Heart. This game was graciously sent to me from the creator Merge Games and the developer Team Gotham. And the game style might on the surface look like it gives a lot of Wind Waker vibes from Zelda, but when you actually start playing it, it's more of just a straight-up block puzzle game. More along the lines of an old school game like Solomon's Key on the NES or Solomon's Club on the Game Boy. Very early on in the game, you get a magical staff, which you can bring up here. It's got a little life ring on it. And you can pick up these blocks and move them to different places. So by being able to do this, it opens up a ton of potential. I'll be honest with you guys, initially when I first started playing this game, I didn't like it. I thought it was boring, bland, dull, lame, you name it. But the more I stuck with it, the more I've been hooked on the puzzling aspect of it, because it truly does make you think and challenge you in ways that most games these days don't. Like, this one really puts the emphasis on critical thinking, and I enjoy a good challenge. So in this, I'm just going to go through some of the puzzle aspects. I'm not going to give a full review of it because this is the kind of game that you truly need to play from the beginning on your own to learn the aspects of it. Otherwise, it just kind of ruins the experience if you spoil it for people. But what I will do is give some basics on the storyline and let you guys discover it for yourselves if you find this interesting enough. Basically, the outline of this game is to be more of a critical thinking on a love life level, and it asks a lot of really deep relationship emotional questions that really aren't suited for a younger audience. If you are like under the age of like 15, this game will definitely miss the mark for what it's going for. But if you're hitting that, dating age of 16, 18, 22, 25, it hits a little bit more home. But the older you are and the more involved and more baggage you have in your life, the more this game is going to hit home for you. And that is where it truly shines. So on a case-by-case basis, as far as people enjoying this title, it truly depends on your own life situation and circumstances surrounding that and how those apply directly to you. But enough jibber-jabber, let's actually get to the gameplay here. This up here, this little lighthouse thing, you can activate this, which I already did, and it shines light over on the totem pole up there. Every island, for the most part in this game, has one of these that you need to activate before you can interact with the totem pole. So it's like a two-step process in order to raise the next island. So right now, my job is to find a way to get up there from down here by using the blocks at my disposal around me here. There are a few different types of blocks. As you can see, this one is a fan block. So you can jump on it, use your parachute just like Zelda the Wind Waker, and float around. You can also press the Y button to spin it horizontally or the X button to spin vertically. And by doing this, it actually opens up a ton of different potential for what this block is able to do for you. So let me put this down here because I need to be up here first. You can get up here one of two ways. You can use that, or you can use that blue awning there that the mold drops down. So I pick this up. We want to get as high as possible. And like I said, this has a lot of similarities to games like Solomon's Key. So for those of you familiar, you'll know exactly what you're getting yourself into here. It's like a 3D version of Solomon's Key where you need to use these blocks to get to a specific location. The controls actually work rather well for how intricate it is to move blocks around. It's fairly easy to manipulate what you need and where you need to put it. So there is a pattern you need to follow in order to organize these enough to stand on them the proper way. And it can be a little tedious. So for those people who are not into a game design that makes you think and take your time to get through each puzzle, this is definitely not going to be for you. But for those of us who like a good challenge, it's worth it. See right there, it's not high enough, but I thought it would be. So now you need to go all the way back, hop up here, float up here, and climb up again. So, like I said, a little bit tedious and a lot of trial and error involved with this. So you can put the block on top of the block. That bridge block there extends once you put it down. So it's a way to get further along than you normally would. Here we go. So you need to put this down on top of this. Get up here, float up to this, and then pick this piece up and then put it there. And then you're high enough finally to float over to here. So once you get over here, you can interact with Totem. No need for shame in this paradise. How important would you deem sex in a relationship? See, this is what I was getting into when I was talking about how it's more for the older audience with the deep questions it asks, and how you answer them determines apparently the outcome of the game. So it is important to answer them as honestly as you feel like to see what the game spits out at you at the end. Crucial, you need to physically love your partner. It's important, but there are many things above it. You can love and not practice sex. I mean, I have a feeling this might be a different answer than my significant other, but... And that's the thing, too. I've played this with my wife sitting next to me, and I've showed her some of the questions and interacted with her. So it is a fun game to play if you're in a relationship. Even though it's a single-player game, the actual questions kind of feel like a multiplayer dating relationship game. And swing here with this significant other of your ghost here. Doesn't really do anything, though. So, away with you. So once you activate that totem, it then activates this next island, and you float over here. The blocks that you were previously interacting with disappear once you walk through those posts, and new ones show up here. And then rinse and repeat. You do the same thing throughout most of the game. There are a couple like caverns and different kinds of puzzles that you need to use the shadows and things like that on where they land, but for the most part, this is the game. You have your wand to move things. You also have something I didn't even mention yet, the guitar. And this kind of acts like an ocarina from Zelda, where you hold down the ZR button and then you can play it. And the songs that you play can activate different things. Like one of them makes it start raining, like this one. Another one makes the clouds go away. Another one makes it daytime and nighttime. And there's a few different songs that you can do to interact with the puzzles to make them more challenging, add another layer of depth to the puzzles that otherwise would be pretty bland over and over if it was just the same block puzzles that you do throughout the whole game. But the game does a really good job of mixing things up. I'm going to do one more block puzzle here just to show you guys the differences. So you could put that block upside down to float up with it, and then use that to stand on it. And then finally put this on this, and then it floats up even higher. The bridge comes out, and then, not done yet, use this one at the edge to float up to get even more height, and then make it over to the island. Like I said at the beginning, a fairly basic indie game, at least on the surface, but the more I play this game, the more I like it. The puzzles get more challenging as it goes on. Initially it was fairly bland and repetitive, but it does a really good job of spicing things up. The background music, as you can hear, is very calm and relaxing. There are no enemies, no ways to die in the game. It's just a very relaxing game to kind of meditate and try to complete puzzles and have kind of an interactive story as well. We've loved each other many times. I wildly enjoy how we consume each other's bodies. I hope we'll always be able to find things that make our hearts race. So you'll find like little notes throughout each campsite. And then the ghost of your love here. What'll happen when you don't find me attractive anymore? Some intense questions, not gonna lie. So here's this guy. You can interact with the animals and stuff. The game does not really explain how interacting with the animals does anything. And I don't know if there's a point to it, but you can do it. That's pretty much all you're going to need to know with Solo Islands of the Heart. It's a pretty straightforward puzzle platformer. Not much action involved with this, but the storyline is extremely intense, and it will resonate with those of us who have been in multiple relationships in our life, especially people who are married or in a committed relationship. The game does a really good job of making you want to keep playing to find out where the storyline is going and what kind of questions it's going to ask you. It's very intense. It gets pretty deep. The puzzles are challenging enough to warrant wanting to continue playing it, and I enjoyed the experience. It is $19.99 on the eShop, the PlayStation Network, and the Xbox Store. It's $14.99 on PC Steam. So for whatever reason, they decided to take $5 off the price on the Steam. So for those of you PC gamers, you'll be saving a little bit of money if you want to get this. As far as the value for it, is it worth $20? I mean, yes and no. If you're really into puzzle platformers, you have a significant other that enjoys playing puzzle platformer games with you, and you think it would be fun to see what kind of answers you get to these questions, then yeah, it's probably worth $20. But for those of you who don't necessarily have that specific situation going on in your life right now, probably not gonna hit home with this title. It's a very niche storyline that is only going to resonate with your personal life, and if you don't have things going on in your personal life like this, you're not old enough or you don't care enough, then it's not going to resonate with you, and you're going to basically miss the entire point of the game. Personally, it's good enough to buy it on sale for me. I don't really think it's worth the $20 full price asking, but it's not a bad game. I just feel like $20 is a little bit high considering the amount of games that are out there for the same price or less that maybe have more of an attraction to most people, but to each their own. I'm going to leave the video right there. I know I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but these review videos never really get the views anyways. I just love playing them and love showing these games off because it's interesting to me. I am fascinated by this kind of game and want to encourage more indie developers to make games like this. So that is Solo Islands of the Heart. Let me know what you guys think about this title, if you'd be interested in picking it up. I know I personally enjoy this specifically because Solomon's Key is like one of my favorite games ever on the NES, so I really love these puzzle platformer block games. But the biggest thing with this game is the storyline, and it really hits me at a perfect time in my life because of everything that's been going on and my relationship and everything. It really hits home, and it's the perfect game for my life right now, but that doesn't mean it's gonna be for everyone. Anyways, I'm gonna leave the video right there. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this type of game, if you're interested in it, if you enjoy these kind of videos I'm making. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.